Holy smokers, guys, Amazon has just become the second most valuable company in terms of market cap in the entire world. They just passed up Google. Google used to hold that spot of #2 most valuable company in the world. Now they were only behind Apple, the almighty Apple. And so we got to kind of discuss, can they pass Apple? Is that possible? And then we kind of got to discuss like them versus Google. Do they really deserve to be a more valuable company than Google in terms of market cap, or is this company overvalued? So if we kind of think about things for a second, let's think about like Google. What does Google's business represent, okay, versus in Amazon, okay? So Google, this is a company that dominates search, okay? They get the most popular, the most successful search engine in the history of the world still to this day, right? Google also owns YouTube. YouTube is the dominant, video streaming service, whatever you want to call it. It's a dominant video service in the world, okay? It dominates every other video platform out there, YouTube. Then they have the Google Cloud, which is also a very big business. The small businesses use it. I used to have a Google Cloud account for my small real estate marketing company. Big businesses use it. I know Snapchat uses a lot of Google to store stuff and whatnot, a lot of their data. They own that. They also have Android, okay? They have the Android business, which is obviously the second, well, I would say it's actually the most popular platform in the entire world as far as for smartphones and whatnot. So they got all these massive businesses. They have the massive search business. They got YouTube, the most popular video platform in the world. They got obviously cloud. They've got Android, and they've got a lot of other like smaller stuff, right? But on the flip side, you kind of look at it from Amazon's perspective. Oh, and by the way, one last thing about Google versus Amazon is Google's going to make somewhere around $20 to $25 billion in profit this year, okay? Somewhere around $20 to $25 billion in profit in 2018, guys. That's an extraordinary amount, whereas Amazon is probably going to make between $3 and $5 billion in profit. So if you were looking at just the profit, obviously Google dominates Amazon. And by the way, Apple just made $20 billion in profit in their last quarter. That's probably why no one's going to pass Apple anytime soon. But let's talk about Amazon. So the first thing you got to think about when you think about Amazon is that they have won retail, okay? They have won the retail war that is the next war, which is online. Everybody else now at this point is fighting for second place, okay? Everybody else is fighting for second place. They've won. And the way I kind of view Amazon, and I think the way a lot of investors view Amazon, is they're going to be like Walmart on steroids when it comes to retail. What Walmart represented in the physical retail game, right? The dominance Walmart had, right? I think Amazon's going to have that in online, but even to a bigger scale. And it's obvious they're going to be #1. Everyone else is going to be fighting over #2. Who's going to be the #2 long term? Will it be Walmart? Will it be Target? Will it be eBay? Will it be an upstart? Who knows? You know, that's up for debate. But it's very clear that Amazon has won retail in the online space, and they're going to be the winner there, right? Then you got to think about it. They got Amazon Web Services, okay? Amazon Web Services, which is, has a lot to do with the cloud and whatnot, and tons of small companies and big companies have started using Amazon Web Services, and it has become like an integral part of their company, okay? So something they don't even want to break up with, and Amazon's starting to make a lot of money from this business, guys. And this is a business that could be a huge profit machine for the company moving forward, all right? So this is going to be a monster business. This is a business that's not even that old that Amazon started. It's now become one of the biggest companies in the world if it was its own company, right? Then you got to think about it from the perspective of food. They have a great opportunity to dominate food. If they're already going to dominate on online retail, right? They're going to be in a great position to dominate online food retail, people placing orders. Who knows if they'll win that? They just bought Whole Foods this past year, which is, obviously the best and biggest as far as the organic game in food. So the jury's still out on if they can win that, but it's a possibility out there. And if they can win that, that's another huge opportunity, all right? Then we think about the smart home, okay? The smart home, that's something we have heard, talk about for years now. Smart home, devices in your home, makes it a smart home and whatnot. they might end up actually winning the smart home game, even though they're not a pure electronics company, okay? So they've got obviously the most dominant device in homes, which is the Amazon Echo, right? Which is listening. I got one in the kitchen that someone got us, right? And those devices are in the home and they're waiting for your command, and you can do things with them and whatnot. That's like the dominant speaker slash whatever you want to call it, you know, virtual assistant out there, and they're building on that platform. And that's what most people have in their homes, okay? They just bought Ring, which is a doorbell company that has cameras and whatnot. That's another device there. They're exploring all these options and all these things. Obviously, they're probably the second biggest player in the tablet game with all their Fire tablets. So they're really concentrated on smart home, getting devices into your home. You know, they try to compete in smartphones and things like that. They couldn't do it there. But a lot of these other little devices that maybe, you know, the big dog electronics companies aren't quite as focused around. I mean, look at Apple and look at Samsung. You know, look at how long it's taken them to come out with, you know, external speakers and things like that. Like Apple just finally got theirs on the market, what, a month ago? Amazon's had Amazon Echoes in homes now for years and years, guys. So they've kind of jumped out in the lead, in my opinion, in the smartphone, and they have a great opportunity to win that. So that is big. So when you look at these, you got to kind of think to yourself, what could these bring in someday? We know Google search, which is its main business, right, is pretty much topped out. Like there's not much room for growth in Google search moving forward at this point in time. So that's the bad thing. We do know that YouTube will continue to be a cash cow for Google for many, many years to come. And it's a dominant video platform, so that's good. We know the cloud business will continue to build out, although there's a lot of competitors there. We know Android is pretty much topped out as far as the amount of devices that can get out there, right? Now it's just kind of like a replacement cycle. So that's somewhat topped out. So if you look, their main business is topped out. One of their other main businesses topped out. Yeah, they can get some more growth certainly out of YouTube. They can get some more growth out of the cloud, but that's a very competitive space there. So Google, it's not seen nearly as much of a growth engine moving forward as something like Amazon, which, you know, they're already in the lead here, but there's so much more room over the next 5-10 years for them to grow in retail. It's incredible, right? Amazon Web Services, that's a company that is growing massively, and that's going to be able to grow for another 5-10 years. Strong growth, okay? Food is a huge potential, thing for them out there. Whether they can win the food game is a question out there, but the fact that they have that opportunity is huge. And then smart home is a massive growing segment right there. And they have, in my opinion, you could make an argument that they literally are the leaders in smart home devices, homes that are going in people's, or devices that are going in people's homes right now. So it's pretty incredible, and that's why, you know, a company like Amazon that might only make between $3 and $5 billion next year versus a company like Google that's going to bring in 20 to 25 billion. That's why a company like Amazon can be valued as the second most valuable company, because they have all these potential growth vectors that are massive things, where Google is kind of like, oh man, this business, your main business, this could be in decline soon, right? Especially with more voice searches and whatnot. You know, think about if you search something with your voice. It's a totally different experience, and guess what? You don't even see if you search something with your voice. You don't see those ads that pop up, which if Google needs people to be clicking on those ads and those AdWords and whatnot so they can get paid. So that's a big factor there, guys. It's a big factor. So, you know, it definitely makes sense why an Amazon would pass them despite not being nearly as profitable. So even though the value side of me would say in a world that's all good and straight, we should just have, you know, a company that's not as profitable be lower ranked than a company that is as profitable, but that's just not the way the stock market works. It's all about growth going forward and kind of what your valuation is right now based upon that, guys. So, but as far as passing Apple, I don't think Amazon's going to be able to pass Apple anytime soon, because Apple is so far out in front in profits, and they will keep expanding those profits over the next 3-5 years that I do not see Amazon passing Apple, at least over the next few years. It's possible someday. I think Apple will be the first company to $1 trillion market cap. Do I think Amazon is going to reach $1 trillion market cap? Absolutely. It could happen within a year or two, but do I think it's going to get to a place where they have a bigger market cap than Apple? I do not think so, at least over the the next few years. Longer term, we'll have to see. But I really want to know your guys' opinion on this. Do you think Amazon should be the second most valuable company in the world? Like, what's your opinion on that? Do you think Google should still be, higher valued than that? I would love to hear from you guys. Do you think Amazon's going to take over that #1 spot? Anyways, let me know in that comment section what you guys think there. Thank you for watching and have a great day.